Okay, people. So we are going to start with chapter number 10 right now. That is Indian economy. This is the last chapter of macroeconomics. In this chapter, we are going to study few things about Indian economy, like what has happened and what is happening, what initiatives government is taking, how government has started working after 1947, how East India Company came in. All those things will be there. Correct. So basically, in this starting, there will be a timeline what we have to study. Timeline will start from 1757, going forward to 2025, current year. Okay. So you see, this chapter ka coverage is in two parts: before 47 and 1947. Before, after 1947, right? Why we are doing this thing before 47, after 47? All of you can understand very easily that this is 47 is the independence year, right? So what has happened before independence? That is what we are going to study, and what has happened after independence? That is what we are going to study, right? Before 47, two years are very important. Two parts are very important: 1757 to 1858. 1757 to 1858, what happened? All of you know, East India Company, EIC, East India Company came to India. The Britishers came to India as a trader. They started trading in India. Are we clear? And 1858 was the year where they have formed their own government in India. Got my point. So 1858, officially 1858 to 1947, Britishers were there in India as a ruling government. Are we clear? 47, 15th August, we got the independence, right? Post which, after 47, again the time period will be divided into two parts. 47 to 1991. Why this division has been made, I will tell you. 1947, beta, is a very specific year for all of us. Reason being, we got freedom from British rule, right? 47, when we got independence, no, post that, our first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, he proposed a constitution of group of people, which was known as a drafting committee, because he felt, and it was a very obvious thing that it should be done. Like, he felt that India is a new country, and abhi tak we were under British Empire, and whatever rules they used to make, whatever regulations they used to pass, whatever laws they used to make, they were never in favor of India or India ka people, right? So they used to violate our rights. They used to like pass the laws against our fundamental rights. Got my point? For that, Mr. Nehru was of point of view that we should have our own rule book. We should draft our own rules. We should give rights to our people. They should have fundamental rights, fundamental duties they should follow. So for that, he constituted a group of people called drafting committee, which was headed by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. The task which was given to this particular group of people, that is drafting committee, was to prepare the rule book of India, in which all the rules will be written on how to make laws. Try and understand this thing very carefully. I'm talking about Constitution of India. Constitution of India is not the law book of India. You will not find laws in Constitution of India. In Constitution of India, you will find rule book. That is a rule book. So you will find rules in that book which will be used to pass laws in future. Got my point? 47, drafting committee was formed. Drafting committee took 2 years, 11 months and 17 days to prepare this Constitution of India. Ultimately, 26 November 1949, rule book was ready and we adopted it. And just after 2 months, 26 January 1950, we implemented Constitution of India. And that was the first time we celebrated our Republic Day. Right? What do you mean by Republic? Republic Day, we celebrate. The reason is very simple, that we declared that we are independent now, we are Republic now. It means we will take our own decisions. We will not allow any foreign power to interfere in the decision making of India. Are we clear? That is the reason whatever decisions India takes, any foreign country, whatever they keep on saying, China, any country, they keep on saying India is not doing good, India is not doing this, should not do this. We are least bothered about it. Reason being, we know that we are independent country and we have all due rights to take our own decisions. Are we clear? That was 1947. Post this, after 3 years, I mean the year in which we implemented the Constitution of India, the same year 1950, one more event happened. What was that? In 1950, we constituted one more group of people, one more commission, which was responsible for a very important task in India. What was the responsibility of that commission? That commission used to make plans for India, 5-year plans. Getting a point, for the growth and development of India. The name of the commission was Planning Commission of India, PCI. Got my point? So PCI was the first commission which was formed for the purpose of making 5-year plans for India ka growth and development. Are we clear? PCI, that time it was headed by the Prime Minister of India. So since then, today PCI is not working. It has been replaced. Now PCI at that time used to work under the guidance of Prime Minister of India. Are you clear? Under the guidance of Prime Minister of India. So the first head of PCI was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, being the first Prime Minister of India. So since then, whenever the government will change, whenever the Prime Minister will change, the new Prime Minister will become the head of the PCI. 15th August 2014, remember the date please. 15th August 2014, when PM Modi was giving his speech from the ramparts of Red Fort, he declared that now on, PCI will not work now and PCI will be replaced with a new body, what we call Niti Aayog, NITI Niti Aayog. Are you clear? Yes. Are you clear, guys? Yes. What is Niti? Niti stands for National Institute for Transforming India, NITI, National Institute for Transforming India. So that is Niti Aayog. Are you clear? So since 2014, PCI has stopped working and it has been replaced by Niti Aayog. Are you clear? That was one thing. One more thing. From 47 to 1991, when we take this year, after the planning, after the appointment of PCI, Planning Commission of India, since when PCI has started making the plans, right? Since then, we barely saw the achievement of the objective. It means whatever goal, whatever objective PCI used to set, we could not achieve that objective because of XYZ reasons. Less resources, the plans are not effective, we are not able to implement the plan properly, all these things. So 1950 to 1991, whatever plans PCI made, right, we could not achieve the objectives of the plan thoroughly. Are we clear? Yes or no? That is the reason 1991, what happened? 1991, we decided to change the way of planning. We decided to change the policy itself so that we can grow and develop at a quicker rate, right? 1991, we brought new economic policy into action. That is liberalization, privatization and globalization policy. So you call it new economic policy, you call it LPG policy, you call it GPL policy, it is the same thing. So a new policy came in. Are you clear? In 1991. After that, the face of India changed drastically. The tables turned and India started growing and developing like anything. That is the reason post 47, we divide it into two parts, 1947 to 1991 and 1991 onwards. Are we clear? Because 91, new industrial policy, new economic policy came into action. Are we clear? Before the advent of British rule, India was self-reliant economy. Means before the advent of British rule in India, India was what type of country? India was self-reliant economy. India was independent economy. Then agriculture was the main source of livelihood. Right? Most of the people, most of the population was dependent upon the agriculture. Then India as a country, we were famous for our handicrafts. specifically in the field of cotton, silk, metal, precious stones, etc. All of you know that we used to export a lot of handicrafts from India. Got my point? What was the status of Indian economy in pre-independence era? That is 1850 to 1947. Right? Understand what was India all about. So it says India was known as the largest economy in the ancient and medieval world between the 1st and 17th centuries AD. If you get a chance to see the old map of India, you will see that old map of India. India was so vast a country that you cannot imagine. It was known for its the area covered, the largest economy. It was known for that. Getting a point. But between 1/3 and 1/4 of the world's wealth during this period was controlled by India. Try and understand. Whole of world, I'm saying 1/4 of the wealth of the world was controlled by India. 25% of the wealth was with India at that time. When Britishers they went away, no, right? They took everything with them. Are you getting a point? Yes or no? Yes. The economy consisted of self-sufficient villages and cities serving as centers for commerce, pilgrimage and administration. As I told you, India was a self-reliant country at that time. Cities offered more opportunities for diverse occupations and economic activities compared to villages. Obviously, cities were the main source of employment. I mean, at that time, villages also, they were self-dependent. Try to understand, villages also were self-dependent because they used to have that much of resources that they could satisfy their needs and wants of their people by themselves only. Are you getting a point? The structure of villages was based on a simple division of labor influenced by race, class and gender, leading to economic and social differentiation. The problem was in the villages was that there was too much of discrimination on the basis of race, class and gender. I hope you understand what is race. What is race? Skin color. Then class, all of you know that in India we have a class system. And then gender. Males used to get more opportunities in the employment, and females were not that much open to the employment. Are we clear? Then it says agriculture was a dominant occupation, but there was highly skilled artisans and craftsmen producing superior quality manufactures, handicrafts and textile for the global market. But India was like agriculture was dominant occupation. India ka major population was dependent upon the agriculture. But agriculture being the main source, with agriculture we were having handicrafts also as the secondary source of income. It means our majority of the population was dependent upon agriculture. But the second best occupation for India was handicrafts. Are we clear? The advent of the Europeans and the British marked a shift in the economic history of India. The period of British rule can be divided into two sub-periods: rule of East India Company and British government in India. As I told you that after Britishers came to India, the picture of India changed all like upside down. Getting it? And after the advent of Britishers in India, what happened? The rule they did in India, so they didn't came in as a government. They came in as a company, as a trader in India. So 1757 to 1858, they were as a trader only in India, right? After that, they formed the government in India and they started ruling our economy. So two periods we will study: 1757 to 1858 and 1858 to 1947. Are we clear? It says British colonialism in India, influenced by the Industrial Revolution, led to a shift in India's role from manufacturer to supplier of raw materials. It's a very important point. We were manufacturer of the things. We used to manufacture the things. But after Britishers came in India, right, what happened? They used to supply raw materials from India and they used to import finished goods in India. Because of which we started diluting our wealth. Are we clear? British policies imposed heavy tariffs on Indian exports of finished goods while keeping lower tariffs on imports, making Indian product less competitive. All of you understand what are tariffs? So there were high tariffs, heavy tariffs on export, and very less tariffs on import. Getting a point? Yes or no? So when we used to export, we used to pay more but when we used to import, we used to get less. That was again a problem. Clear hai itna? Last point says, this discriminatory tariff policy aimed at serving British interests resulted in a sharp decline in both external and domestic demand for Indian goods. अब since when we are exporting at high price, we are paying more tariff. It means the price of Indian goods will increase. And all of us, we know when price will increase, demand will decrease. Yes or no? So because of high tariffs, demand for Indian goods used to decrease. Are we clear? Factory-based production did not exist in India before 1850, and modern industrial enterprises began to grow in the mid-19th century under colonial rule. In India, factory-based production was not there. I mean, before the advent of British rule in India, there were very less factories in India. We used to work for agriculture and handicrafts, handmade goods. But after the introduction of British rule in India, what we saw? We saw factories coming in India, and machines were introduced in India. Are you getting a point? Cotton milling industry in India expanded steadily, achieving high international competitiveness with 9 million spindles in the 1930s, ranking 5th globally. The production of cotton in India, it increased like anything. And it was so high that in 1930s, we ranked fifth at the 5th place globally in the manufacturing of cotton products. Are we clear? Jute mills, mainly situated around Kolkata, responded to global demand, made India the largest producer in the world by the late 19th century. Largest producer of jute was India. In what time period? Late 19th century. Late 1880s, 1890s mein, India was the largest producer of the jute. And for cotton, it was ranking 5th globally. Remember these figures, please. Okay. Then other industries such as brewing, paper milling, leather making, matches, and rice milling also developed during century. During the same period, we entered into new industries like brewing, paper milling, making of paper, leather makings, leather made goods, then matches and rice milling. I mean the grains ka things also started growing. Heavy industries like the iron industry established in 1814 by British money ranked India 8th globally in terms of output in 1930. In terms of iron, we were the 8th largest country to produce iron. Are we clear? 5th in cotton, largest in jute, and 8th in iron. Are we clear? Yes or no? Some industries in India reached global standards by the early 20th century and just before the Great Depression of, it was the 12th largest industrialized country by the value of manufactured products. Before the Great Depression, India was the 12th largest country in terms of manufactured products. 12th largest country, guys, think about it, please. And where we are now. Are you getting a point? Pressure from English producers influenced policy formulation, discouraging the development of industries that could compete with English producers. Since Indian made goods were competing with English goods, so what they did, they started changing the policies in a way that they should favor English made products, and they should basically decrease the production of Indian made products. Are we clear? That is when the discrimination started. Do we understand this? India's industrial growth was insufficient to bring about a general economic transformation, with the manufacturing sector's share in the net domestic product reaching only 7% in 1946. Because of these policies, our production went so low that our NDP, I hope all of you can understand, net domestic product went to only 7% by 1946. It is nearby area when British were moving out of India. Yes or no? Last says, factory employment in India remained small, accounting for 0.4% of total population in 1900 and 1.4% in 1941. It means whatever factories were introduced, in those factories, how much employment we did? 0.4% of total population in 1900, and by 1941, in these 40-41 year ka gap, the employment increased to 1.4%. That was again a very less percentage of employment. Are we clear? Post-independence. This was pre-independence, before 47. Now, post-independence, what happened? Post-independence also I told you two things. 1947 to 1991 and post 1991. So that is what we are studying. The first point is 47 to 1991. It says, so this is the post independence era, that is 1947 to 1991. What happened? Let us see. First it says, at the time of independence, India was predominantly rural with a largely illiterate and impoverished poor population. I'm sorry. So it's like at the time of independence, the problem in India was that illiteracy was very high. Illiteracy was very, very high, right? The society was deeply stratified and India faced challenges not just in income but also in human capital, with a literacy rate just above 18% and a life expectancy of barely 32 years in 1951. Try and understand. It's a very serious issue India faced. बहुत serious issue है ये. देखिए क्या कह रहा है? India was lacking in human capital. Sir, what is human capital? There's a difference between human and human capital. Human means illiterate person, unskilled person, untrained person. Human capital means when you train a person, when you put skills in that person, when you educate that person, that human becomes human capital. That is, he will become an asset for you. So when we say that India was lacking in human capital, we are trying to say that in India, there was a lack of skilled workers. Are we clear? Because during British Empire, what happened? We used to work under the Britishers. So they used to train their people and they used to command us. Are you getting a point? Yes or no? Right? Apart from that, you see literacy rate was just above 18%. It means on 100 people, only 18 people were literate people. Are you getting a point? 82% people were illiterate. That is a very, very, very high percentage, guys. Right? Apart from that, life expectancy was barely 32 years. What is life expectancy? Life expectancy is the average age of living of a person in the country. Means for how much, at what age the people are dying, or till what age they are living. Getting a point? So what was the age? 32 years only. Death rate was very high. Achha, that was the time where in India birth rate was very high, death rate was very high. Life expectancy was very low. Are you getting a point? Now, we will talk about two approaches. First is the Nehruvian approach and the second is Gandhian approach. Okay. So first we're talking about the Nehruvian approach. The Nehruvian model, influenced by historical factors, dominated post-independence economic policy, focusing on social and economic redistribution and state-led industrialization. The Nehruvian model said that we will, like a post-independence, we will focus on such economic policies which will do social and economic redistribution. Remember, redistribution function of the government means we will redistribute the income and wealth so that we can bridge this gap between rich and poor. Not only that, we want to work, like they want to work on state-led industrialization. For every state, we should make a separate policy and we should do industrialization in every state. Are we clear? Which was a good model actually, right? Centralized economic planning and direction were core to India's development strategy, executed through the Planning Commission and 5-year plans. As I told you, PCI and their 5-year plans. So it's like centralized economic planning. What do you mean by centralized economic planning? Centralized economic planning basically means that there will be one authority who will make plans for whole of India. Centralization. Remember PU2, Business Studies, chapter number 2, Principles of Management, Henry Fayol, 14 Principles of Management. One of the principle was centralization and centralization. One will take the decision and all others will follow. अरे भाई इधर देख ले. Are we clear with this thing? So we were executing the central plans through Planning Commission and their 5-year plan model. Are we clear with the things? The early days of independence saw a focus on rapid industrialization, with the central government having authority to design economic strategy and coordinate investments with the private sector. 1991. Before 1991, private sector was existing in India, but the total burden was on central government, state government. because of which government was overburdened. Again, I will refer to Henry Fayol. First principle of management, बताइए क्या था? What was that? Division of work. Yes or no? अब since central government was heavily burdened, that is the reason 1991 when privatization was implemented, the work between central government and private sector was divided so that we could release the central government from the excess burden and central government could focus on the KRAs, key result areas, the main areas, the core areas. Are we clear? So that is what it is saying, that private sector was there before 1991, right? And government used to coordinate with the private sector and used to work hand in hand. But ultimately again, the major work was on the shoulders of central government. Are we clear? Nehru's development strategy emphasized planned modernization with a significant role imagined for the state in industrialization. The Nehruvian model basically has emphasized always on planned modernization. It means whatever you want to, the way you want to grow, the way you want to develop, the way you want to adopt to the modern techniques, the way you want to adopt to the modern methods, it should be planned. Plan it, implement it. Are we clear? Don't go by the flow. Are we clear, guys? The Industrial Policy Resolution of 1948, this is a very important resolution, guys. You should mark it. The Industrial Policy Resolution of 1948 expanded the public sector's role and introduced licensing for the private sector, granting state monopoly in strategic areas such as atomic energy, arms, ammunition, and railways. New investments in basic industries were exclusively given to the state. Now, this is a very important thing to be understood. 1948 Industrial Policy Resolution was passed. And this resolution said that there are few industries like atomic energy, arms, ammunitions, railways, etc. They will be operated only and only by state. State means what? State, not the state government. State refers to the meaning as it is given in the Constitution of India, as it is defined in Constitution of India. So this state word as defined in Constitution of India covers everything. Central government, state government, local government, municipalities, all the authorities which are working in India or outside India under the control of Indian government. So this is one word, one term, state, but it covers central government, state government, local government, all the municipalities and all the authorities which are working in India or outside India but under the control of Indian government. So these industries were reserved for state, and other industries where private sector was working, for private sector licensing was introduced. That if you want to start this thing, if you want to enter this industry, you should first take a license from Indian government and like license as in approval from Indian government, and then only you should enter the industry. Are we clear? Basically, government wanted to control the industries. That is it. What is the point is. Are we clear? Then it says the policies in 1950s were guided by two economic philosophies. Here I told you that we are going to study two approaches. First is Nehruvian approach, second is Gandhian approach. So that is what we are doing here. Two philosophies were working in 1950s. 1950 again is a very important year because PCI was established in that year, beta. Okay. So then Prime Minister Nehru's visualization to build a socialistic society with emphasis on heavy industry. I hope all of you understand what is socialistic society. Socialistic society means a society which is covered by government only, where all the resources are owned by public sector, government only. So that was the vision of Mr. Nehru. Whereas the Gandhian philosophy of small scale and cottage industry and village republics. So Mr. Gandhi wanted to develop our small scale and cottage industry, and Mr. Nehru was having the view that he should work on heavy industry. Remember this thing. Nehruvian approach focused on heavy industry. Gandhian approach focused on small scale industry and cottage industry and the villages, of course. Are you clear? Then it says the IPR of 56. First, we studied Industrial Policy Resolution of 1948. Now we are studying 1956. Emphasized public sector expansion leading to dampening dishearten of private initiative and enterprise with long lasting negative consequences for industrial growth. In 1948, when we passed IPR, Industrial Policy Resolution, that time we said that we are going to implement licensing. Yes or no? We will reserve few areas to the state. Now here what we are saying, that IPR of 56 is emphasized on public sector expansion. Acha, in 48 anyways, we restricted private sector, that you have to take the license, then only you will go ahead, you can start the work, yes or no? In 56 what we did, we oppressed private sector. Again what we said, that we are expanding public sector more. By that way, private sector was crushed like anything. Are you getting a point? Now you will understand that why Nehru's visualization was to build socialistic society. Because with his idea, only public sector was being expanded and private sector was not so being emphasized. Are we clear? Until the 1950s, India followed an open foreign investment and trade policy, but a balance of payment crisis in 1958 led to a tightening of trade and reduced investment licensing for new investments requiring imports of capital goods. BOP, balance of payment. What is that? BOP is a financial statement which records two transactions, import and export of goods and services both. When export is more than import, it is in surplus. When export import, they are equal, balance, and when export will be less than import, deficit. So in 1958, we saw a severe BOP crisis. It means we were buying more than what we were selling. It means we were diluting India's wealth. Are we clear? Yes or no? Because of which, again, what happened? Tightening of trade was reduced, and reduced investment licensing for new investments requiring imports of capital goods. I mean, the trade was at its low. Are you getting a point? The early days of independence saw a focus on rapid industrialization, with the central government having authority to design economic strategy and coordinate investments with the private sector. Initially, when we got the independence, no guys, at that time what happened? That time we were very focused. What we were doing rapid industrialization. We were just starting the industries, we were just growing the industries. But after that, what happened? Nehruvian approach, we kept our focus only on public sector and we didn't develop the private sector. Are we clear? Nehru's development strategy emphasized planned modernization with a significant role envisioned imagined from the state in industrialization. As I told you before also, that Nehru's vision was very simple, that we will do planned growth, planned modernization, and we will do state-led industrialization. Are we clear? State-led industrialization means basically state here means again central government, state government, local government authorities working in India, outside India under the control of government. Are we clear? So government should lead the industrialization. Government should lead the path of industrialization. Again, Nehru was focusing on the development of public sector only. Are we clear? The IPR of 48 Oh, I think we went to the last slide. It's okay, no worries. Comprehensive import controls were maintained until 1966. In the first 3 decades after independence, 50 to 80, India's average annual GDP growth rate, what is known as the Hindu growth rate, was a modest 3.5%. Growth rate at that time was just 3.5%. In the first 3 decades, I am saying 1950 to 1980, first 30 years. Are we clear? The initial focus was on capital intensive projects. I hope all of you understand what is capital intensive projects, where we were using more of capital and less of human efforts. So we focused on capital intensive projects like dams, power plants, and heavy industrialization, rather than consumer goods contribute to the Hindu growth rate. So basically, capital intensive projects were focused on to increase Hindu growth rate. Are we clear? Which was 3.5% nearly during the first 30 years. In the mid 1960s, what happened? India witnessed a major shift in economic strategy marked by inadequate prioritization of agriculture during the second plan and the reduced outlays. Problem. A very major problem. All of us, we know that initial period, sir, go. Initial period, what happened? Our most of the population was dependent upon agriculture. So the moment we made second plan, our focus on agriculture sector reduced. We didn't plan the agriculture. So guys, in this point we have understood that in mid 1960s, what happened? The plans we made, right? They shifted their focus from agriculture sector. What happened because of that? The sector on which the majority of population was based was getting the least priority now. That was a problem for us. Reduced outlay means we were spending less on agriculture. Outlay means expenditure actually. Okay. So the existing strategy for agricultural development relied on the institutional models like land reforms and farm cooperatives with limited emphasis on technocratic areas like research and development and irrigation. It means now we were focusing on, like, the only way to develop agriculture sector was through the reforms, through the changes. Actually, it should have been through the research development, through the new technology in irrigation. We should have developed agriculture. How? By doing more research on it, by developing the techniques of production. Yes or no? By doing more irrigation facilities, we should draw new irrigation facilities. But because of shift in our priorities, development of agriculture sector was left on land reforms like things. Like when we will make the changes, then only agriculture will develop. So we were not doing research and development as required. Are we clear? Yes or no? Severe drought in 1966 and 67 led to negative growth in the agricultural sector, prompting a serious food problem and dependence on the US for aid. Very big problem. 66, 67 was the year where there was a very severe drought, because of which farmers could not get as desired production, because of which in whole of country we saw a very severe food problem. And at that time we were dependent upon US aid, US help, that US will help us and will provide us food grains so that we can satisfy our basic needs and wants. Are you clear? The need for a quantum quantity jump in food grain production shifted the focus to increasing agricultural productivity, initiating the Green Revolution. That was the time when, because of this problem, when we saw this problem, that was the time when we tried to manage the things, and we thought that okay, if for future at least we should make the arrangements. And that was the time when Green Revolution came in. It happened. Green Revolution happened. I think all of you are through with the Green Revolution wala part. Yes or no? All of you know what happened in the Green Revolution. Yes or no? It was a revolution in the agricultural sector. The Green Revolution involved restructuring agriculture policy. We changed the policy, emphasizing innovative technologies like high yielding seed varieties and intensive use of water, fertilizers, pesticides, successfully increasing food grain production. So we changed the policy and we focused on that how can we increase the productivity in the agriculture sector, right? Simultaneously, the government introduced stringent administrative controls on trade and industrial licensing and launched a wave of nationalization, including the nationalization of 14 banks in 1969 and another 6 in 1980, right? To regularize these things, to safeguard all these things, to promote this revolution, to support this revolution. In 1969, Government of India started nationalizing the bank, through which the Government of India could give a financial support to the agriculture sector and the other sectors also. 1969, 14 banks were nationalized. Further, 6 more banks were nationalized in 1980. Are we clear? Yes? Yes, sir. The interventionist policies of the 1960s had irreparable consequences in the following decade. The economic performance of 65 to 81 marked the worst period in the independent India's history, with growth decline attributed mainly to productivity loss. 1960s का policy what we made, despite of giving a push to the economy in a positive way, it pulled the economy in a negative way. Productivity was lost, and because of which we saw a negative growth rate. Despite of growing, we went in a negative terms. Getting my point? Autarkic policies, license Raj, 3 wars. I hope all of you remember those 3 wars: 62, 65, 71. Major drought 66, 67, and oil shocks where the supply of oil was reduced from the OPEC, oil and petroleum exporting countries, in 73, 79, contributed to 2 decades of decelerated growth. 2 decades, 20 years we saw that India was not growing the way it should have grown because of these problems. License Raj, private industries pay IPR 1948, licensing of private sector was done, Indian Industrial Policy Resolution 1948, yes or no? Then License Raj, the same thing. 3 wars we fought, right? Indo-Pak, Indo-China, 62, 65, 71, correct? Then major droughts, 66, 67, oil shock, OPEC, 73, 79, all these three. You see, started from 60s, went to 80s. These 2 decades, 20 years were very burdensome for India. Were very, very, very burdensome for India. India could not grow the way it should have grown. Are you clear? India's closed economy missed opportunities in the rapidly growing world economy. World was developing, world was growing, but because of these events, what happened? India could not contribute. India could not hold the hands of the other countries and grow simultaneously. Why? Because India was going through all these problems. Are we clear? Government policies aimed at equitable distribution of income and wealth undermined wealth creation incentives and were largely anti-growth. I mean, the policies were not working. We were not able to grow the way we should have grown, right? Because of all these problems. Are you clear? MRTP Act of 1967. What is MRTP Act? Monopolies, Restrictive and Trade Policies. Monopolies, Restrictive and Trade Policies Act. Basically, this was the act which used to aim at stoppage of creation of monopoly in the market. Okay, so its main focus was that monopoly should not create in the market, because if monopoly will be created in the market, now what will happen? The competition will be less, and ultimately who will suffer? Consumer will suffer, because consumer will have to pay more price. Yes or no? So MRTP Act of 1967 regulated large firms, restricting their market power through licensing capacity limitations and restrictions on mergers and acquisitions. Licensing was the main problem, right? People were not able to take the licenses because the criteria to take the license, those criteria were very stringent, were very tough. Only handful of people could satisfy those licenses criteria and could get the licenses. Are we clear? Yes or no? The policy of reserving products for exclusive manufacture by the small scale sector from 67 aimed at promoting small industries but excluded big firms from labor intensive industries, hindering global competitiveness. On one side, we were promoting small scale industries, but on the other side, when we were imposing licenses on the large scale industries, they were not able to work. Labor shortage, licenses were not granted, yes or no? So on one side, we were developing small scale industries, and on the other side, we are putting licenses on the large scale industries, because of which we could not see the expected growth in India. Are we clear? Stringent labor laws discouraged labor intensive industries in organized sector. Nobody was willing to enter into labor intensive sectors, industries. Why? Because labor laws at that time are very strict, and everybody was of view that why to follow these strict laws unnecessarily, we will do some other work only. So they were refraining to enter into the labor intensive industries. So they were focusing on capital intensive techniques. Are you clear? Because of which what happened? Unemployment. When you will not do labor intensive things, when you will not focus on labor intensive industries, what do you mean by labor intensive industries? where you use more of human efforts and less of machines, mechanical efforts. Yes or no? It means when you are not focusing on this approach, rather you are focusing on the other approach. That is, you are using more mechanical efforts and less of human efforts. Ultimately, what will happen? People will get less employment. No. Yes or no? So unemployment shot up. Clear? Hai? Policymakers and industrialists realized that the strict regime lacked incentives and openness necessary for sustained rapid growth. Everybody came to a conclusion that was this is not how the things work. If this continues, we will not be able to grow. So we should now change the things. Slowly and gradually, you see the problems why LPG was introduced. Liberalization because of these stringent labor laws. Privatization, we delicensed the things and we gave more sectors to the private sector so that the economy could become a mixed economy rather than becoming a socialist economy. Getting a point? And globalization, why we did it? Because to increase our international trade. Are you understanding all the problems that are relating to LPG policy? Yes or no? And gradually, देखिए, when we are moving from one year to other year, we are closing by 1991. We are getting close to 1991 year, in which we will implement the new industrial policy. Because of these problems only, NIP was introduced. Are we clear? Right? Post independence, that is 1947 to 1991. Second part is starting now. 47 to 1991. What we were doing. Now we will see the era of reforms. The time when reforms started happening. Reforms means changes. Okay. Seeds of liberalization and reforms were planted in 1980s, specifically after 1985. 85 was the time when everybody got to know that now liberalization has to be done. Delicensing has to be done. Otherwise, we will never grow this way. Getting a point? Early 1980s saw efforts to restore price stability through tight monetary policy, fiscal modernization, and some structural reforms referred to as early liberalization. Before 1991 policy, we took some steps just to try and test ourselves how ready we are for the changes. We tested ourselves that okay, if we make these changes, we will be able to absorb those changes or not. This period aimed at changing the inward oriented trade and investment practices, often called reforms by stealth, due to its ad hoc and not widely publicized nature. Ad hoc means kind of unofficial, and stealth means when you camouflage yourself. You understand what is camouflage? When you hide yourself, when you don't open that much, when you're doing all the things secretly. That is what we call stealth mode. Yep. Despite not being a comprehensive package like 1991 reforms, these efforts contributed to higher growth rates in 1980s compared to the previous 3 decades. Previous 3 decades, 1950 to 1980, when we implemented the pre-liberalization steps, we saw that actually these steps are working. Because as compared to 30 years, previously 30 years, our growth rate in these years were now more than that growth rate of the last 30 years. Getting a point? So we got a hint, small hint, that yes, the changes are now working. Are we clear? The average annual GDP growth rate during 6th plan period 80 to 85 and the 7th plan period 85 to 90 was 5.7 and 5.8% respectively, whereas in 50-80 we saw that the GDP growth rate was 3.5%. Yes or no? Yes. There it was 3.5% some amount. Here it is 5.7 or 5.8%. Are we clear? Early reforms in the 1980s focused on industry, trade and taxation accompanied by skillful exchange rate management. Means in the early reforms of 1980s, when we did early liberalization reforms, that time we focused on industry, we focused on trade, we focused on taxation, and also we focused on the training of people. That is, we got human capital also. We tried training the people. We tried putting good skills in the people so that they can increase their productivity. Are we clear? Industrial policy initiative included in industrial policy, whatever changes we did, whatever changes we did, what we did, we delicensed 25 broad categories of industries in 1995. Before 1991, what we did, we delicensed 25 industries. Delicense means we removed the licensing ka part from 25 industries, which were delicensing of 25 broad categories of industries in 1985, broad banding for industry groups to allow flexibility in the product mix, and raising the asset limit subject to MRTP regulations for larger firms. It means we were now working from all these sides. We were hitting the problems from 360-degree angle, and we are doing all the possible things to increase the growth rate. Are we clear? The first step was changing in the licensing criteria, that is we delicensed 25 industries, and also we increase the limits on the MRTP Act, that you can hold more assets now. Are we clear? Yes or no? Yes. Conversion of multi-point excise duties into a modified value added MODVAT tax, reduced taxation on input. So basically we were working on taxes, as I told you people, right? We were not only working on law, we were not only working on delicensing, we were working on reducing the taxes also, so that industries could have more monetary power in their hand and they could grow. Yes or no? Yes. Next it says establishment of SEBI in 88 was again a very good step, very major step in India's economy. 88 SEBI was established, and after 4 years of establishment, 1992, it started working full-fledged. The expansion of open general license list and introduction of export incentives, realistic exchange rate expansion of OGL list and export incentives help boost exports and reduce foreign exchange pressure. It means what? We opened the general license list. It means we opened the list where now we were saying that okay, more people can do the export and import without the let us not say without the license, let us say that the rules were made easy for them to do the international trading, because of which we saw a very good boost in the export. So when we were doing more export, we were earning more, we were getting more foreign exchange. Are you clear? Abolition of price and distribution controls on cement and aluminum. These were the two major sectors at that time we were exporting. Rupee depreciation of by about 30%, guys. Rupee depreciation by 30% from 85 to 86 to 89 to 90 based on the real effective exchange rate. We saw REER. You remember real exchange rate? Yes. NEER, REER, nominal exchange rate and real exchange rate. All of you remember, no? 86 का budget introduced policies to cut taxes, liberalize imports and reduce. Ab you see, gradually we are making easy for people to do the not only domestic trade but also international trade. Getting a point? The growth rate performance of the economy was hindered by structural inadequacies and distortions. The growth performance was hindered. I told you, no, what we were doing. We were trying to check ourselves whether we can absorb all the things or not. We tried to liberalize many things. Right? But when we were liberalizing all the things, what we saw after a particular stage, we were not working. We were not able to grow as much we were expecting. Reason being our infrastructural boundaries. I mean, we were not having that much of resources where we could grow that much. Getting a point? We were not having those arrangements to grow that much. Private sector investments were inhibited due to complex licensing policies, public sector reservations, and excessive government controls. Reservation of goods for the small scale sector and price controls discouraged private sector investments. Private sector was not willing to invest now also. Reason being that all the benefits were given to small scale sectors. You remember Gandhian approach? All the benefits were given to small scale sectors. That is the reason private sector was not doing more investment in its area. Correct? The public sector, despite its massive size and monopoly, suffered from inefficiency, government control and bureaucratic procedures yielding low returns on investment. Guys, privatization. This is the foundation stone of privatization. Because private sector was not in the market, all the things were to be managed by the public sector only. And after that, what happened? Public sector got inefficient. Government control was too much, right? and bureaucratic procedure, the administrative procedures, right? They were not work. They were the administrative procedures were like they were burdening government, that they were overburdening the government could not work the way it should have worked, because it was controlling all the things on its own. Private sector ka help was not there. There was no one to divide the work. Yes or no? MRTP Act created barriers for entry, diversification, and expansion for large industrial houses. This point says MRTP Act, which was afterward replaced. MRTP Act was a very stringent act. I mean, entry in the market was not so easy because of the restrictions put in by MRTP Act. That was the reason, I think in 2001 or 2, MRTP Act was replaced by the Competition Act. Getting a point? Because it was not helping the economy to grow. It was restricting the economy actually. Getting a point? So because of this, barrier was not, the entry was not easy. There was a barrier of our entry in the market also. Import controls, tariff quotas and restrictions prevented foreign competition and investments to protect domestic industries. So basically it says ki to protect the domestic industries, there were many controls which were imposed on import, many quotas were there, tariffs were there, anti-dumping duties, CVD, you remember all those tariffs, international trade. So why all these things were done? To protect the domestic market. Despite limited scope and lack of a clear roadmap, the reforms in 1980s instilled confidence in politicians and policymakers regarding the efficacy of policy changes for sustained economic growth. The belief in well-regulated competitive markets as drivers of our economic growth and increased total welfare gained acceptance. Liberalization in the 1980s laid the necessary foundation for the more comprehensive reforms in 1990s. I told you, पीछे बताया था ना मैंने आपको कि now this is the foundation stone for liberalization, privatization and globalization. देखिए, this is what it's saying. When we did early reforms, early liberalization reforms, what happened at that time? At that time, we got to know that India is responding to the changes. When we will do the changes, we are responding to the growth rate. Yes or no? We are responding to the changes. Our growth rate is responding, increasing. Correct? Hai? That is the reason we got to know that in 1980s, whatever changes we did, right, we are ready for doing more changes in a planned manner. And that is when in the 1990s, late 1990s, 1991, we brought some more changes, and those were economic reforms of 1991. Got my point? These are the economic reforms. Now we will make the changes in the economy, working of the economy. Clear है इतना? देखिए, it says India embarked on a bold set of economic reforms in 1991 under the Narasimha Rao government. The immediate need for drastic economic reforms in 1990s was driven by several factors. Why the changes were made in 1990s? We all, before making these changes, we got to know that yes, we are ready for the changes. That is the reason in 1990s, Narasimha Rao government thought of bringing the number of changes so that we can see a very good jump in the growth rate of India. It says fiscal initiatives in the 1980s led to consistently exceeding revenue receipts, resulting in unsustainable fiscal deficits financed by domestic and external debt. Read this line again, you will understand all the things. The immediate need for drastic economic reforms in 1990s were driven by several factors. These were the reasons why we have brought the changes quickly in 1990s. Our unsustainable fiscal deficit. We were facing fiscal deficits there. You remember fiscal deficit? Yes. What is fiscal deficit? Our total expenditure is more than total receipt, excluding borrowing. Excluding borrowing. Yes or no? It will tell us how much money government should borrow to run its operation. Yes or no? Yes. Our fiscal deficit were very unsustainable. Rising, declining, rising, declining. So this gave a very clear hint that yes, you have to make the changes in the policy. Correct? Persistent deficits led to a significant increase in public debt and a large portion of government revenue allocated to interest payments. You remember I told you Whenever you will see a deficit, how will you finance it? Deficit financing will be done through debts. You will issue long-term bonds and you will take the debt. Yes or no? Right. When you will take the debt, it means it is a burden on you. It means whatever. If you take debt in this year, if you take debt in this year, next year onwards, what will happen? You will be under a fixed liability of paying interest. It means from next year, whatever income you will get, you are putting one more extra expenditure on that part. That is, you have to pay the interest also now. So this was burdening the government. Correct? The Gulf War in 1990 triggered a surge in oil prices, causing severe strain on the balance of payment. Again, Gulf War, all of you remember? Gulf War jab hua tha, what happened in Gulf War? The Gulf War, just because it was between all the oil and petroleum exporting countries, OPEC, because of that war, it was very difficult to import export the oil at the price which we were doing. So that was the reason we saw a very quick surge in the price of the oil. The price of the oil increases. Foreign exchange reserves reached a critical low of $1.2 billion, sufficient for 2 weeks of imports, prompting the need for economic reforms. This is a very important thing. In India, there was a time where the foreign exchange reserves of India were at that low that we could import for 2 more weeks. It means after 15 days, 14 days, we cannot do the imports. And at that time, we were dependent upon the other countries for many goods. Getting a point? How much reserve we had? $1.2 billion. The figure seems to be very big, but try and understand we're talking about India, a big country. Yes or no? So that figure was not so big actually. Tightening import restrictions to secure foreign exchange for essential imports led to reduction in the industrial output. What happened? Just because our reserves were depleting, so what we did, we imposed restriction on import, that we will import only those goods which are very important for the needs of our country. You remember national income, four sector economy, import multiplier, M equals to M bar plus M by. What was M bar? Autonomous import. What is autonomous import? Autonomous imports refers to that import which is just for the essential things, only for the essential things. Can you relate it with now? समझ में आ रहा है? Can you relate it now? That we restricted the import only for the essential commodities. Are you clear? Dependency on external borrowing from IMF subjected India to stringent conditions for additional borrowings, influencing corrective policy measures. Our debt was increasing day by day, and IMF said that okay, now you cannot withdraw more money. Reason being, you have already withdrawn too much of amount. Now it is a time you should change your policy and make some other arrangements. The fragile political situation, coupled with economic crisis, created a crisis of confidence that emphasized the urgency for comprehensive economic reforms in India. All these things together, collectively, they were hitting the government like anything. And government got to know that this is the time when we make changes. If we don't make changes, we will die. Yes or no? A very important part. The year 91 marked a paradigm shift in the Indian policy reforms. The nation which had embraced the socialist model, the nation which was following the socialist model, with the state playing an overriding role in the economy, had the history of the government persistently intervening in the markets, collapse of a Soviet Union, and the spectacular success of China based on outward oriented policies were lessons for the Indian policymakers. The reforms instituted in 91 aimed to move the economy toward greater market orientation and external openness. The reforms, popularly known as LPG reforms, spelt a major shift in economic philosophy and fundamental change in the approach, and had two major objectives. What happened? Because of all these things what we studied, India was forced to bring changes in the policies, and eventually in 1991, at last in 1991, what happened? The changes were brought in the form of LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. This new policy had two major objectives: reorientation of the economy from centrally directed and highly controlled one to a market friendly and market economic economy. Before, we were centrally planned economy. We were centrally. If you have studied chapter number 1 of microeconomics, there you might have studied about the features of socialist economy. In that, you might have studied about the central planning authority (CPA). You might have said that in socialist economy, all the things are guided by CPA. Yes or no? So before we were focusing on the socialist approach only. Yes or no? That is the reason everything was planned by the Central Planning Authority. Getting a point? Yes or no? But now when we shifted from CPA to the market friendly or market oriented economy. Means now we were not focusing on one plan for whole nation. We were focusing on every market individually. As and when the way the market is behaving, make a plan that way and try to grow the market. Right? Second thing was macroeconomic stabilization by substantial reduction in the fiscal deficit. We changed the policies in a way that it also reduces fiscal deficits. Clear hai? The reform measures of 91 were driven by critical economic, fiscal, and BOP crisis, structured as a core package to address these challenges and structural rigidities. The overarching policy paradigm aiming at shifting from central direction to market orientation. I mean, under this policy of 1981, we took many changes, we took many measures so that the things can be changed and the market could be grown in a very easy manner. Are we clear? So, guys, whatever reforms we're talking about, 1991 reforms, in those reforms, there were two different, like two types of measures which were taken, two types of steps were taken. One, the short term measures, the other, the long term measures. Short term measures are known as stabilization measures. Stabilization measures basically means those measures, those steps which are taken to address the issues which are maintaining disequilibrium in the market. So to stabilize the market in the short term, the measures were known as stabilization measures. So these are the short term measures to address inflation and the adverse BOP implemented to stabilize the immediate economic challenges to stabilize the market equilibrium. Are we clear? Then we had structural reform measures where long term and continuing problems were dealt in these measures aimed at enhancing productivity and competitiveness. For the long term, we aimed at increasing the production capacity and competitiveness in the international market. Got my point? Yes or no? In the fiscal reforms, these were the basic things which we did. Introduction of a stable and a transparent tax structure. We bought a very stable and a very transparent tax structure. Emphasis was made on better tax compliances to increase revenue collection. Focus was done on curbing government expenditure. Government expenditure was curbed. Remember expansionary fiscal policy, contractionary fiscal policy. Reduction and abolition of unnecessary subsidies. Whatever subsidies were given unnecessarily, they were reduced. They were abolished. Disinvestment of government equity in selected public sector undertakings. So in privatization, what we did, some companies, some industries were like where disinvestment was done. Disinvestment means what? All the resources which were invested by the public sector in that particular industry, they were taken back, and those industries were given to the. So disinvestment was done, and in disinvestment, what we did, we took out all the resources of government from the industry, and we gave that industry to be catered by the private sector. You only do it. That is what we call disinvestment. Are we clear? Yes. Then encouraging private sector participation. In the previous approach, all of you have witnessed that we were focusing more on public sector and less on private sector. That was socialistic approach. But when we did the privatization, we encouraged private sector ka participation in the economy so that they can reduce the burden of government, which was anyways very overburdened. In order to bring in fiscal discipline, it was essential to do away with the temptations or to finance the deficit through the easy path of money creation. Therefore, the government entered into a historic agreement with the Reserve Bank in September 94 and bring down the fiscal deficit in phased manner to nil by 1997 and 1998. So to deal with the fiscal deficit in September 94, an arrangement was made between government and the RBI that they will do the monetary changes and will bring down the fiscal deficit. And by 97, 98, this agreement worked, and actually the fiscal deficit was brought to nil. There was no fiscal deficit at all. The things were doing. I told you, no, 1991 is a year in the Indian history which changed the working of India, and because of that we are here. Are you getting a point? Monetary and fiscal policy reforms. Let us just see. I'm sorry, monetary and financial sector reforms, right? So focus on reducing non-performing assets burden on government banks. The focus of this reform was that all the assets which are not performing, right, we should reduce them so that we get more of performing assets and less of non-performing assets so that our return could increase. Are we clear? These reforms included many measures like interest rate liberalization and reduced controls by the RBI on loan and deposit rates. It means RBI gave away few decision making to commercial bank itself, that I will not interfere in all these things, on all these matters. You can take your own decision, which made the things easier for the commercial banks also. Then opening new private sector banks to foster competition and removing administrative constraints that reduce efficiency to increase the competition. What happened? Private sector banks were introduced. Private banks were introduced, because of which public sector banks got competition, and they also started working in a good manner so that they should not be ruled out of the market. To compete with them, they also have to increase their efficiency. Right? Last point says reduction in reserve requirements, CRR, SLR were reduced so that when they will be reduced, more money will be injected in the market. Are we clear? And this was done on the recommendations of Narsimhan Committee report. Remember Narsimha Rao government? That government only has brought all these changes. Liberalization of bank branch licensing policy and granting freedom for branch operations. I mean, banks were given permissions to open the different branches and work through the branches also, because of which the reach of bank to the public increased. Right? Bank could reach more people now. Last point says introduction of prudential norms for accounting, asset classification, income disclosure, and bad debt provision in line with Narsimhan Committee recommendation. So new norms, new rules were made for income distribution, taxation policy. Basically, I'm talking about how to distribute, how to basically reveal the income, how to show the income, right? How will you disclose your income, or bad debt provision? All these things were maintained by on the recommendation of Narsimhan Committee, because of which the working of India started smoothening. Are you clear? Then the next is reforms in the capital market. SEBI was introduced in 1988, as I told you people, and in 1992 it got statutory powers, statutory recognition. I told you, 88 it was formed, and after 4 years of its formation, what happened? It started working officially in a full-fledged manner, right? A new industrial policy announced by the government on 24th July 1991. Remember this date; it is very important. 24th July 1991, the industrial policy was basically announced, and in order to provide greater competitive stimulus to the domestic industry, a series of reforms were introduced to change the working of economy. After the application of 1991 policy, all the things were changed and the economy was being controlled in a new manner. Clear it now? What steps were taken here? Removal of licensing restrictions from all industries except for 5 related to security, safety, and environmental concerns. Licensing was one of the problem that was solved by delicensing almost all the industries except 5. Then limiting the public sector to eight sectors, ultimately reducing it to rail transport and atomic energy. The involvement of public sector was reduced in the economy, and major sectors were given to private people to be controlled. Are we clear? Restructuring of MRTP Act, which was further replaced by the Competition Act. MRTP Act was basically disbanded, and we replaced MRTP Act with Competition Act. De-reservation of goods produced by small scale industries and allow entry of large scale industries. You remember we discussed that focus was made on small scale industries. Yes or no? Except for? Except for? हाँ वो आई अंडरस्टैंड दैट, उसमें 18 लिखा होगा. हाँ इट इज़ लाइक दैट ओनली. बिफोर इट वॉज मेड टू 5 एंड देन 18 का नंबर आ गया था वो. आई अंडरस्टैंड दैट. So that is the number of industries. Basically, the licensing was made to 18 industries only. वो सही बोल रहा है, गलत नहीं बोल रहा है. 18 industries का ही रिजर्वेशन हुआ था वो. Are you clear? After that, which was brought to 5. So MRTP Act was restructured, correct? And Competition Act was like it first. This act only was being changed, and after that, it was like Competition Act replaced MRTP Act. The focus of MRTP Act was negative focus, like it used to abolish the monopolies, and Competition Act ka focus was very different. It used to take such steps because of which the competition used to increase. It used to, just basically, what do you say that? Competition Act used to attract the industries that okay, you should come, more industries should come, more firms should come in the market to increase the competition, right? Then we have reduction of public sector monopoly, reserving only 8 industries for strategic and security reasons, what I said before, right? Liberalization of foreign investment, introducing automatic approval for FDI up to 51. Guys, you remember automatic approval and अरे ऑटो yes sir नहीं automatic approval and it is like approval route and automatic route, remember, right? So introducing of automatic approval for FDI up to 51%, later extended to nearly all industries except reserved ones. Whatever 8 industries were reserved for the public sector, except those industries, in all other industries, right, automatic approval was basically implemented up to 51% of FDI. Liberalization of external trade, shifting from a positive list to a negative list approach, eliminating import licensing for most goods, means the licenses were abolished in all the fields, be it import, that also was abolished, right? Reduction of highest tariff rates from 355% of tariff rates in 1991 were reduced to 85% in 93-94, further to 50% in 95-96, 2007-8 it was only 10% tariff. You see, it was 355%, and by 2007-8 it came down to 10% with exceptions to certain goods. Are we clear? 18% devaluation of rupee against the dollar. Devaluation was done. You remember revaluation, devaluation, appreciation, depreciation, right? Bold steps of disinvestment in government holdings of equity share capital of public sector enterprises, providing greater autonomy and professional management. I told you disinvestment was done where government stepped back and private sector was boosted to control the things. Clear? Hai? So these were your reforms in the capital market. These were the reforms in the capital market. Are we clear? Guys, the next is trade policy reforms. Now, what do you mean by trade policy reforms? Now you will see changes in the trade policy, right? When we will import export the things, now we will make the changes in the policy which was controlling the trade. Are you clear? Let's see. It says the trade policy reforms aimed at dismantling of quantitative restrictions on import and export, focusing on a more outward oriented regime with phased reduction and simplification of tariffs and removal of licensing procedures for import. It says dismantling of quantitative restrictions on import export, talking about quotas. Quotas were eased, not removed but eased, right? Then focusing on more outward oriented regime, promoting export and not focusing more on import. Removal of licensing procedure for import. So the things which have to be imported, which are basic things, which are necessary things, on those things licenses were made easy or licenses were removed, right? The boost exports, various incentives were introduced, including the removal of export duties. Export duties were removed. 1991, India devalued the rupee by 18 to 19% under a fixed exchange rate system. 18 to 19% Indian rupee was devalued, because of which what happened? Indian goods were like cheaper for the foreign consumers. So they used the price of Indian made goods decreased for the foreign consumers. So demand for Indian made goods in the foreign market increased, because of which we increased export also. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And remember one thing, it was devalued. Devalued means what? Government did it specifically to increase the quantity demand in the international market, right? A dual exchange rate regime was established in March 92, allowing importers to pay at free market rates for some imports and at a government mandated rate for others. Means the dual exchange rate regime was basically maintained. Dual exchange rate regime क्या होता है? It is like that for some goods, whatever free market में exchange rate will happen at that exchange rate. For some goods payment will be made, and for some goods government will decide the exchange rate. At that exchange rate these payments will be made. On one side, for few goods, we will follow the market exchange rate, and for few goods, we will follow the exchange rate set up by the government. That is what we call dual exchange rate. So, yeah. Then, by March 1993, the exchange rate was unified and India adopted a managed floating exchange rate system. I hope you remember international trade, floating exchange rate system. There are two types of floating exchange rate system: fixed floating, also known as pegged, and the second is managed floating exchange rate system. So in 1993 March, we started following managed floating exchange rate system. India has witnessed vast changes over the last 31 years of economic reforms. Changes enumerated below are only broad observations and are in no way comprehensive. These are just few of the changes what India saw. These are not all the changes. These are few of the changes what India saw. First, India has increased economic integration with the global economy, globalization. India has came near to the other economies, right? Shift towards a market-oriented economy with reduced government intervention. Government interference has reduced, because of which we could have worked free. Because of which we have worked freely. Significant growth in private sector investment and initiative. Up since focus on private sector was also being made, it means private sectors were now investing in the market. Before they were not doing it, right? Sectors like auto components, telecommunications, software, pharmaceuticals, and biotechnology have high international competitiveness, right? Eased trade controls for access to foreign technology inputs, know-how, and finance. So it was made easy for Indian firms also to meet the foreign firms and know their technology, get their knowledge and exchange their skills with each other. So to get a synergic effect actually. Are you clear? Yes or no? स्टेबल, ध्यान दीजिए आप, अब आप डाउन जा रहे हैं. Stable foreign direct investment and substantial foreign portfolio investment, FDI and FPI, both. Remember, for international trade again, FDI and FPI, they increased, right? Strong foreign exchange reserve among the world's largest. There was a time when we were left with only 2 weeks ka foreign reserve. You remember? Only 2 weeks of foreign reserve was left with us in India. But now this is the time after 91 where we had world's largest foreign exchange reserve. You see from where to where India has came in. Now you will understand that why we were discussing that it was strongly recommended that changes are to be made. This is why. Yes or no? Lower pressure on the Indian rupee compared to the other emerging market economies. On Indian rupee, the pressure was very low because the development was very good. Yes or no? Increased incomes, large domestic market and high aggregate demand sustain the economy. Better position than many emerging market economies to handle global challenges and substantial reduction in the poverty. As I told you before that we were hitting the problems from 360-degree approach. We were hitting the problems from everywhere, and result is like that from everywhere we were getting the good results. Be it alleviation of poverty, be it eradication of poverty, be it increasing the employment rate, be it decreasing the unemployment rate. From everywhere we were getting the good news, right? One of the good news was that we had world's largest foreign exchange reserve now. Are we clear? Reforms led to increased competition and efficiency in sectors like banking and insurance, because of which these two sectors have developed a lot because of competition. Yes or no? Then phenomenal growth in the infrastructure sectors. Our infrastructure has grown like anything because after these changes. Decline in the value-added share of agriculture and allied activities over 4 decades. Deepening of India's financial sector due to increased liberalization. Constraints include high fiscal deficit, inflation, and debt at 86% of GDP in 21-22, higher than the average of emerging market and developing economies at 64.5% of 2022 IMF. See, guys, what I'm trying to say is, after bringing all these changes, we have seen a growth in every sector, be it infrastructure, be it the financial sector, be it the any other sector, insurance sector also, banking sector also. I'm trying to say that these changes were so important for all of us that if those changes would not have been brought at that time, no, this position we would never have achieved. You getting a point? Yes or no? Yes. So these were the reforms, trade reforms, right? Post which we are now going to discuss about Niti Aayog. As I told you, 2014, 15th August, in the speech of Mr. Modi on ramparts of Red Fort, he specifically announced that now Planning Commission of India will be replaced by a new body, that is Niti Aayog. Niti stands for National Institution for Transforming India. It came into effect on 1st January 2015, and it became the apex policy making body after the Planning Commission. Apex means highest planning making body of India. Are we clear? Remember the date, 1st January 2015. Are we clear? Neoliberal era, पूरा पढ़ लेते हैं इसको एक बार. It says for nearly 64 years the PCI was a powerful advocate of public investment-led development. I mean, all of you understand, 1950 it was established, right? And post which what happened, for 64 years we continued with the PCI ka planning only, and the focus of PCI was public investment. Yes or no? Socialistic approach, Nehruvian approach, right? The new ideologies of the neoliberal era, neoliberal era means basically a timeline where the liberalization has already been implemented, where things have been liberalized, where things have been eased. In that case, in this era, we have seen a new body developing and replacing Planning Commission of India, and that body was Niti Aayog, that is National Institution for Transforming India. Are we clear? 1st January 2015, 25 नहीं है, 2015 है. Are we clear? The major objectives of such a move was to spur, inspire, innovative thinking by objective experts and promote cooperative federalism by enhancing the voice and influence of the states. Niti Aayog is expected to serve as a think tank of the government and a directional and policy dynamo. Means in India now, whatever policies are being made, in India now, whatever measures are being taken, in India now, whatever steps are being taken, are designed by Niti Aayog. And Niti Aayog is headed by Prime Minister of India only. Are you getting a point? Yes or no? Yes, sir. So yeah, these are the objectives which are followed by Niti Aayog. First is evolve a shared vision. It is like to evolve a shared vision of national development, priorities, sectors and strategies with the active involvement of states. It is not that only centrally planned economy will work. Now everybody will work together. We will take your opinions, then we will develop a comprehensive plan. Second, to faster cooperative federalism. What is federalism? Brotherhood. We should not work alone. We should work together for a faster growth. Yes or no? Third objective, to develop mechanism to formulate credible plans. We should develop a system where the plans which are made in that system are very credible, are very effective, are very efficient. Are you clear? Then interest of national security are incorporated in the economic strategy and policy. We are not also forgetting the major area, that is national security. Correct? Pay special attention to risk of not benefiting adequately from the economic progress. You are paying special attention to these sections of our society where we could not see that much of progress. So in Niti Aayog ka planning, we are focusing on that section of society also which are very least developed. We are developing those sectors also, right? Then to design strategic and long-term policy and program frameworks and initiatives and monitor their progress and their efficacy and impact. To design the overall development system, and not only to design the plan but to implement the plan, and also if required to take the corrective actions if there is any deviation in the plans. Yes or no? To provide advice and encourage partnerships between key stakeholders and national and international like-minded think tanks, as well as education and policy research institutions. Not to work alone. We will shake hands with the other organizations also, whether nationally or whether internationally, so that we all can grow together. We should make effective plans. We should not only be the think tank of India. Think tank means brain of India, right? And this brain of India is a like where this brain is not willing to work alone. This brain is like to this brain likes to shake hands with the other organizations, which could make more effective plans for the growth and development. More effective plans. Are we clear? Then to create a knowledge and innovation and entrepreneurial support system through a collaborative community of national and international experts, practitioners and other partners. It means we are making such a community where the entrepreneurs of India are also promoted, that okay, we are boosting you, we are helping you financially as well as through knowledge, right? If you want to get some knowledge, you want to get some ideas, you take it from us and you try to be an entrepreneur, so that you don't become employee, you become employer. Generate more employment. That is what we are saying. Are we clear? The next is to offer a platform for the resolution of intersectoral and interdepartmental issues in order to accelerate the implementation of the development agenda. Work intersectors, work interdepartment, right? Understand that how working of one department is impacted by the other and try to solve those things, right? To maintain a state-of-the-art resource center, be a repository of research and good governance and best practices in sustainable and equitable developments, as well as help the dissemination to stakeholders. Try to gather more and more knowledge. Try to be a hub. Try to be a center from where everybody can take knowledge and develop. Yes or no? Yes. To actively monitor and evaluate the implementation of programmers and initiatives, including the identification of the needed resources as to strengthen the probability of success and scope of delivery. The main focus is to actively monitor and evaluate the implementation of programmers and initiatives. Whatever programs which we are making, whatever initiatives we are taking, we are not only implementing them, but we are also following up. We are controlling it also, so that we get to know whether the programs are working the way we want or not. Okay. The next focus is the focus is on technology upgradation and capacity building for the implementation of programs and initiatives. Are you clear? We are upgrading the technology also, so that the programs or the initiatives we are taking, they can work in an effective manner, right? To undertake other activities as may be necessary in order to further the execution of national development agenda and objectives mentioned above. It means to achieve all the objectives what we have studied. If there is anything required to do something else, if it is required to take some other steps, we should take those steps also, so that other objectives could be achieved properly. Okay. The key initiatives of Niti Aayog are these. Very important point. Please understand this thing. First is life, which envisions replacing the prevalent use and dispose economy. Means what? Use and dispose economy means basically hit and trial methods. We are not going to do hit and trial now. We are going to use practical approach. We are going to use practical approach. Plan everything and then you execute it, so that we don't waste the resources, right? Then NDAP is the National Data and Analytics Platform, which facilitates and improves access to Indian government data which is a key to success for all the programs, right? NDAP has been made, a platform has been made, that if you want to gather some data about particular thing, you can gather the data through NDAP. Okay. Ch-10 campaign basically means here we are focusing on reducing the air pollution. Basically, Ch-10 campaign aims at improving the air quality in India by accelerating the deployment of electric vehicles. Right? How are we controlling air pollution? Number of ways. One of the ways, which is the main core of Ch-10 campaign, is to promote electric vehicles, so that we can talk about the improved air quality in India. Remember these three names: Life, NDAP and Ch-10 campaign. Then E-Amrit. E-Amrit is again one of the initiatives taken by the transport industry, transport ministry. Read it. E-Amrit is one-stop destination for all information on electric vehicles, like what to do, how to do, when to do, how much to do. All the things are there in E-Amrit. Then India Policy Insights, methanol economy. Methanol economy, you understand that we are replacing petrol and diesel engines with the gases which will create less pollution or no pollution, right? Then transforming India's gold market. I mean, Anyways, it has been transformed now. Now you see gold has reached to 86,000 rupees per 10 gram. Yes or no? Right? So all these are the major initiatives taken by the Niti Aayog. Are we clear? There are arguments put forth by experts about the weakness of the system. देखिए, every system who has promoted the growth development, every system who works in a better way also has a dark side. So when we have discussed about the strengths of Niti Aayog, let us talk about the weaknesses of the Niti Aayog also. So it says they argue that Niti has a limited role. It does not produce national plans, control expenditures, or review state plans. The major shortcoming of Niti is its exclusion from the budgeting process. In budgeting process, Niti Aayog will never help. It is excluded, right? It also lacks autonomy and balance of power within policy making apparatus of the central government. The termination of the Planning Commission has strengthened the hand of the Ministry of Finance with its fixation on near-term macroeconomic stability and the natural instinct to limit expenditure. But Niti lacks the independence and power to perform as counterweight to act as a voice of development concerned with inequities. The problem is the Planning Commission of India, when it was there, it used to participate in the planning also. But Niti Aayog has a very limited role in planning. Are you getting a point? The powers to plan have been disseminated, has been given to other ministries also, because of which the power of Niti Aayog in planning has reduced. So this is one of the weaknesses what has been discussed here. Guys, the next topic is about the current state of the Indian economy, that is the current state of India ka three sectors: primary, secondary and tertiary. We're talking about the primary sector first. Primary sector first. Sorry. That is the agriculture sector of India. It says agriculture with its allied sectors is indisputably the largest source of livelihood in India. Till the end of 1960s, India was a food deficient nation and dependent on imports. Agriculture from very starting has been the major source of livelihood in for the people of India. Majority of the population of India has been dependent upon the agriculture and its related sectors. Allied sectors. Allied sectors means which are related with the agriculture sector. Okay. India has emerged as the world's largest producer of milk, pulses, jute, and spices. India has the largest area planted under wheat, rice, and cotton also. Remember these data, right? So India is the second largest producer of fruits, vegetables, tea, farmed fish, cotton, sugarcane, wheat, rice, cotton, and sugar. Right? Then it says Indian food and grocery market is the world's sixth largest market, with retail contributing to 70% of the sales. India has the world's largest cattle herd, buffaloes. The Indian livestock sector gained a record growth of 6.6% during the last decade, 2010-2019, emerging as a major producer of milk, egg, and meat in the world. You can understand the position of India now. Yes or no? India grows large varieties of cash crops, of which cotton, juice, it is not juice, it is jute, right? So India grows large varieties of cash crops, of which cotton, jute, and sugarcane are prominent. Although the shares of agriculture has been declining in over GVA of India, it continues to grow its absolute terms. People, please understand. Hope you remember GVA, varied method. It means the contribution of agriculture nowadays is decreasing in GDP, but overall GVA is increasing. Are we clear? A number of liberalization measures are adopted by the government. The government of India has allowed 100% FDI in marketing of food products and in food product e-commerce under the automatic route. First of all, automatic route, which is easy. Second, what is the percentage of FDI? 100%. That foreign players can come and they can participate in Indian market regarding this marketing of food products which are made in India and also in the e-commerce. Getting a point? Then a few recent measures, few steps which are taken recently. That is the income support to farmers through PM Kisan. I hope all of you know that Kisans in our country nowadays, they receive a financial support from the country every month. Yes or no? So that is the income support. Fixing of MSP. MSP is the minimum support price. If at all the farmers are not able to sell their crops in the market, then a minimum rate is fixed by the government that which will be paid by the government to the farmers in any case. Yes or no? That is MSP. Then institutional credit for agriculture sector at concessional rates. I mean, you farmers now can get credit, that is loan on very less rates. Launch of the National Mission of Edible Oils, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bheem Yojana, a novel insurance scheme for financial support to farmers suffering crop loss or damage. Now the crops are also being insured. In case there is a crop failure or damage to the crops, they get the insurance amount so that they don't face high losses. Yep. Mission for Integrated Development of Horticulture, MID, for the holistic growth of the horticulture sector. Horticulture sector also is also being developed and grown, right? Provisions for provisions of soil health cards. Then we have Parampragat Krishi Vikas Yojana, supporting and promoting organic farming and improvement of soil health. Nowadays, all of you know that organic farming is like growing like anything. People are depending upon organic farming, which is good actually. Then Agri Infrastructure Fund, a medium long-term debt financing facility for investment in viable projects for post-harvest management infrastructure and community farming assets. It means a new fund by the name of Agri Infrastructure Fund has been introduced, which is a medium to long-term debt financing facility for investment. If farmers they want to invest, they can take debt from this fund, which is available at the concessional rates again. Then promotion of farmer producer organization FPO to ensure better income for the producers thorough and organization of their own. New organizations have been made, FPOs have been made for the farmers so that they can promote their well-being, right? Then per drop more crop focuses on the effective water utilization so that the water is not wasted, and with less water we are doing more irrigation, right? Setting up of micro irrigation fund. Micro irrigation fund means again they are the funds for credit facility at micro level, right? Lower level I'm saying. Then initiatives toward agriculture mechanization means machines are being introduced in the agricultural field so that farmers they get the benefit of high technology also, new technology also. Setting up of ENAM, a pan-India electronic trading portal which networks the existing APMC mandates to create a unified national market for agricultural commodities, one market for all the agricultural commodities. So gives a benefit to all the farmers that they don't have to move from one market to another. They go to one market and they can sell off their crops, right? Then we have introduction of Kisan Rail for improvement in farm produce logistics. Kisan Rail basically means the railway system is being used for transporting the crops from one place to another easily at a concessional rate, right? And creation of startup ecosystem in agriculture and allied sectors. Again, you see government is helping the farmers in many ways so that they also grow and develop as like the other sectors of India. Are we clear? Guys, the secondary sector. It says the Indian industry holds a significant position in the Indian economy, contributing about 30% of total gross value added in the country and employing over 12.1 crore of people. 30% of GVA and 12 crore more people ka employment. Technically, it is a bit less as compared to the population, but again, it is contributing more, right? The industrial sector in India broadly comprises of manufacturing heavy industries, fertilizers, pharmaceuticals, chemicals and petrochemicals, oil and natural gas, food processing, mining, defense products, textiles, retail, micro and small medium enterprises, cottage industries and tourism. All these types of industries are covered under the secondary sector. Are we clear? The share of informal sector in the economy is more than 50% of GVA. Rapid industrial growth of domestic industries and diversification of industrial structure are essential elements for sustainable economic growth. Informal sector ka the participation if we see in the GVA, that is more than 50%. Are you getting a point? Yes or no? In India, industrial production measures the output of businesses integrated in industry sector of economy. Manufacturing is the most important sector and accounts for 78% of total production. In the secondary sector, manufacturing is the most important part, which contributes to 78% of total production. The manufacturing GVA at current prices was estimated at US dollars 77.47 billions in the third quarter of financial year 2021 and 22. $77.47 billion का contribution by manufacturing sector in 2021-22, which is a very good share. Yes or no? And has contributed over 16.3% to the nominal GVA during the past 10 years. In past 10 years, it has contributed to 16.3% of total GVA. 22-23 until September 22, the combined index of 8 core industries stood at 142.8, driven by the production of coal, refinery products, fertilizers, steel, electricity, and cement industries. Only these few industries are contributing at a very high rate in the GVA, right? January 31st January 23, the manufacturing purchasing managers index in India stood at 55.4. India ranked in the global innovation index improved from 40th to 81st in 2015. In 2015, it was 81st rank, and in 2022, the rank came to 40th rank. 45 ranks ka jump. It's a very, very, very good jump. Yes or no? The Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade (DPIIT) has a role in the formulation and implementation of industrial policy and strategies for industrial development in conformity with the development needs and national objectives. So this is the department who is making the trade policies, the industrial policies to develop and grow the industrial sector of India, right? Ever since independence, many innovative schemes are undertaken by different governments from time to time to boost industrial performance. Some of these schemes are listed below. Number of schemes have been implemented by different governments from time to time. But current schemes, all of you know, the very first scheme, GST, of course, yes. 1st July 2017, GST was implemented and it replaced many indirect taxes in India such as excise duty, VAT, service tax, etc. Now GST is the one tax which is applied. Goods and services tax. At 3 levels it is applied: CGST, SGST and IGST. Are we clear? Reduction of crop tax to domestic companies, giving an option to pay income tax at a rate of 22% subject to condition that they will not avail any exemption or incentive. Whereas it's like where the companies are paying higher taxes, but we are giving exemption to those companies who are into the domestic. Reduction of corporate tax to domestic companies, given an option to pay income tax at rate at 22%, subject to condition that they will not avail any exemption or incentive. It means on one hand, where we are charging more taxes from the foreign companies in India, domestic companies, we are giving leverage to them that you can pay only 22% tax. This rate is higher for foreign companies. Are you clear? But this rate will apply only in one condition, that they will not claim any other exemption. It means two offers cannot be clubbed together. As simple as that. Are we clear? Make in India is a vocal for local initiative launched in 2014 to facilitate investment, foster innovation, build excellent infrastructure, and make India a hub for manufacturing, design and innovation. Make in India 2.0 is now focusing on 27 sectors, which include 15 manufacturing sectors and 12 service sectors. Make in India, all of you know, we are trying to make all the goods in India now. Import substitution. Right? And its second version now you see in India is focusing on 27 major sectors, out of which 15 are manufacturing sectors and 12 are service sector. Ease of doing business, MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Companies Act we're talking about. Ease of doing business with key focuses areas on simplification of procedures, rationalization of legal provisions, digitization of government processes, and decriminalization of minor technical or procedural defaults. India ranks 63rd in the World Bank's annual Doing Business Report DBR 2020 as against 77th rank in 2019, registering a jump of 14 ranks, which is a very good jump. We are working on ease of doing business. Ease of doing business means how easy is doing business in a country, right? On that platform, when I say that how easy is doing business in India, according to DBR, that is the Doing Business Report, every year this is listed. In 2019, the rank was 77th. India had 77th rank, and in 2020 the rank came to 63rd. I mean, it's like 14 ranks ka jump is a very good jump, and which shows that in India now India is working in a very good way to make the doing of business in India easy for the people. Yes or no? The National Single Window System is a one-stop shop for investor-related approvals and services in the country, and aims to provide continuous facilitation and support to investors. So it's like some portals are designed for investors where one portal they can access everything. They need not run here and there for different things. One portal they can do everything, right? PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan for to facilitate the database decision related to the integrated planning of multi-modal infrastructure, thereby reducing logistics cost. Gati Shakti National Master Plan is a plan which is related with the logistics. I mean, this is a plan whereby we are making the plans so that we can cut down our logistic cost, transportation cost, by making the highways from one place to another, so that we don't take a long route, we take a short route, and we reach the other places at like in a cost effective manner, right? Then we have NLP, that is the National Logistics Policy, launched in September 22, aims to lower the cost of logistics. The same aim, lowering the cost of logistic and make it at par with other developed countries. It means we are not only lowering the logistic cost, but we are developing our infrastructure in a way that we are now matching the road system of many developed countries. We are increasing the infrastructure in a way, transportation system, the roads, highways, we are developing in a way that it is not only cost effective for us now, but we are also matching the road system of the developed countries. It means the road system they follow, we are also following the same system. Yes or no? In the other countries, you might know that when you drive, the limits are like 100, 120 km per hour, 130 km per hour. This is the limits on the roads. Why? Because they are so smooth, and it's not only about the smooth, they are so well planned that the chances of accidents are very less. So we are also trying to make the same thing. Are you clear? That will not only improve the logistic cost, but also will do other things also. Getting a point? Yes. Then we have, keeping in view India's vision of becoming Atmanirbhar Bharat, the production linked incentives PLI schemes was initiated in March 2020 for 14 key sectors to enhance India's manufacturing capabilities and export competitiveness. PLI scheme is now extended to for white goods, heavy consumer durables, air conditioners and LED lights, etc. So basically what we are doing is we are launching PLI schemes, production linked incentive scheme, whereby you will get the benefits depending upon the level of the production you are doing. If you are at the small scale production, accordingly you will get the incentives. Medium scale, according incentives, and large scale production, you will get the incentives accordingly. Are you clear? Industrial Corridor Development Program, that is a greenfield, brownfield, you remember? Greenfield investments, brownfield investments, you remember? So Industrial Corridor Development Program, that is greenfield industrial region area nodes with sustainable infrastructure and to make available plug and play infrastructure at the plot level. It means we are promoting greenfield investments, or also we are promoting brownfield investments. Remember, Anna? Do you remember? Greenfield and brownfield investments, we are promoting them. Then FAME India scheme, that is faster adoption and manufacturing of hybrid and electric vehicles. Everybody knows here that we are focusing on hybrid and electric vehicles so that we can control the air quality also. Udyami Bharat aims at the empowerment of MSMEs. We are focusing on MSMEs also nowadays too much. Micro, medium and small enterprise, micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs. We are empowering them through which scheme? Udyami Bharat. Remember the name of the schemes. Then PM Mitra is one of the most important initiatives nowadays. Please remember this thing. PM Mitra is PM Mega Integrated Textile Region and Apparel to ensure world-class industrial infrastructure which would attract cutting-edge technology and boost FDI and local investment in the textile sector. It means we are promoting textile sector also. For that we have initiated a scheme by the name of PM Mitra, where we are implementing the latest technology and technologies in the textile sector so that it can increase its efficiency. Got my point? Opening up of global investments all of you know that in India now what is happening is we are opening up our market to all the foreign leaders so that they can come and they can invest in India, right? Specifically in the form of defense, pension, e-commerce activities. 100% FDI under automatic route is permitted for the sale of coal mining activities, including associated processing infrastructure, and for insurance intermediaries. This thing I told you before also in FDI wala part. That for coal and insurance, we have allowed 100% FDI, that too through automatic route, which is an easier route. Are we clear? Then FIPB, that is Foreign Investment Promotion Board. It is a specific board which is focusing on promoting the promoting the foreign investment. How to get the investment from foreign country so that we can get more resources in India and grow and develop our country. Are we clear? Public procurement. One second. Sorry, remission of duties and taxes on export products, that is ROTTEP 2021, formed to replace existing MEIS, Merchandise Exports from India scheme. Basically, this is a scheme under which we control the exports. This scheme MEIS was bit stringent, was bit tough, and to replace the scheme, we have formed ROTTEP, that is the remission of duties and taxes on export products, which is to boost exports. It provides for rebate of all hidden central, state, and local duties, taxes, levies on the goods exported which have not been refunded under any other existing scheme. It means it is there to promote the export by giving extra incentives which were not given till now. Are we clear? Initiatives towards fostering innovation include incubation, handholding, funding, industry academia, partnership and mentorship, and strengthening of IPR regime. IPR pata na? WTO, IPR, GATT IPR. To strengthen that regime, to strengthen that the trading of IPR, that is also one of the main thing. National logistics policy is comprehensive policy framework for the logistics sector. We have made a separate policy for logistics to control the cost of the logistics and to improve the quality of the logistics. Startup India program acts as the facilitator for ideas and innovation in the country. India rank in the Global Innovation Index GII has improved from 81st in 2015 to 40th in 2022. In case of Startup India program means we are promoting the entrepreneurs here in this program. And on this basis, under the ranking of Global Innovation Index, I hope you understand, globally innovation, how much innovation the countries are doing. On that index, in 2015, we were ranking 81st. Now in 2022, we have ranked 40th. 2022, 40th rank. A jump of 41 ranks in the innovation wala part. Is again a very good jump. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Next it says public procurement, preference to make in India order. 2017 gives preference to locally manufactured goods, works and services in public procurement, thereby giving boost to industrial growth. Now we are focusing on more on Indian made goods rather than foreign made goods, which is boosting our industry. It is increasing the production. Yes or no? Then the Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme, ECLGS, is a fully guaranteed emergency credit line to monitor lending institutions. In case, it is a kind of a credit line, like a way where in case of any emergency, the loans will be provided to the institutions if required at all. And it is a guaranteed scheme that you will get the loans in case required. It's a kind of an insurance scheme basically, right? Then India is gearing up for the fourth industrial revolution or industrial 4.0. Read this point carefully, in which manufacturing transformation needs to integrate new technologies such as cloud computing, IoT, machine learning and AI. The National Manufacturing Policy, which aims to increase the share of manufacturing in GDP to 25% by 2025, is a step in this direction. Now we are gearing up for the fourth industrial revolution, in which we will focus on artificial intelligence, which will increase the GDP, which will increase the value addition by manufacturing sector in GDP by to 25% by 2025, by this year. Are you clear? Because that was the secondary sector. The next is the tertiary sector. It says a remarkable feature of the post-reform Indian economy is the overarching role of the services sector in generating growth of income and employment. it says after the reforms, after the changes, service sector is also contributing a lot in increasing the employment and contributing to the growth and GDP of India. It says unlike the usual economic development process of nation where economic growth has led to a shift from agriculture to industries or from the primary sector to the secondary sector, India has a unique experience of bypassing the secondary sector in the growth trajectory path by a shift from agriculture to the services sector. Generally what happens, people shift from agriculture to the secondary sector, primary to secondary sector. But India has got a new experience where people have shifted from agriculture to service sector, and where you see the role of service sector, which is a very important role in the GDP and the growth of India. Are we clear?